Welcome. This is a conversation breakdown of the Acquire English lesson, You Read My Mind. If you haven't seen that lesson before or seen that conversation before, no problem. We'll have a look right now. Do you want to grab lunch at the place around the corner?
Actually, I'd rather go somewhere else.
Oh, don't you like it?
Not really. It's always crowded and too noisy.
That's true.
It's too expensive too.
Okay, would you rather have ramen?
You read my mind.
Let's go line by line to make sure you understand each part of the conversation. Do you want to grab lunch at the place around the corner? So this one here, do you want to grab lunch at the place around the corner? In this case, grab means to eat lunch. Do you want to eat lunch at the nearby restaurant? Around the corner means we leave our office, we turn left at the corner, and there is a restaurant there. So that is around the corner.
Actually, I'd rather go somewhere else.
So here Tuan says, actually, I'd rather go somewhere else. This just means, no, I want to go to a different restaurant. Him saying actually is a bit more of a polite no. So actually, I'd rather go somewhere else means it's a little more polite. Now, would rather means there is another thing that I like or I want more. This is a big point today, so I would like to talk about this a little bit in detail. So again, would rather means there is another thing that I like or that I want more. So for example, if someone asked, would you like some tea? You might say, I would rather have coffee. Now this doesn't mean I hate tea. It just means right now I want coffee more. Again, it doesn't mean I always like coffee more. It means right now I want coffee more. Is that okay? So I would rather have coffee does not mean I don't like tea. Maybe you don't, but in this situation, that's not exactly what it means. So we could also look at the difference between rather and prefer. Maybe you've heard prefer before. So would you like some tea? I would rather have coffee. Or you could also say, I would prefer coffee. Is that okay? So I would rather have coffee, I would prefer coffee have the same meaning. Now, if you say, I prefer coffee to tea, that means all of the time. So when you leave out the would, just I prefer coffee to tea, that means I always prefer coffee to tea, or 99% of the time in general. I prefer coffee to tea. I like coffee more. Now we cannot say, I rather coffee. With rather, for this meaning, we always have to have would. I would rather have coffee. We cannot say, I rather coffee. Oh, don't you like it? Okay, so let's go back to our conversation. Remember before Tuan said, actually, I'd rather go somewhere else? So here I say, oh, don't you like it? So this, oh, don't you like it? I'm surprised. This means it seems that you don't like it. Is that true? So to show this surprise, we often use what's called a negative question. In a negative question, we'll start with a negative word like don't, or didn't, or aren't, weren't, wasn't, isn't, any of those to form a negative question, and we can do this to show some surprise.
Not really. It's always crowded and too noisy.
Okay, so here Tuan says, not really. It's always crowded and too noisy. So this just means, No, I'm not a fan of it. There are always a lot of people and it's too loud. So let's just take a closer look at this not really. This is a very common answer that native speakers use to answer a question, do you like it? So, do you like something? Not really. That not really means I'm not a fan of it. Okay? So, if we take a look at these two sentences, I don't really like it, and I really don't like it. The first one, I don't really like it, means I'm not a fan of it. Whereas I really don't like it means I hate it. So be careful between the word placement there of really. It really changes the meaning of the sentence.
That's true.
This one is a pretty easy one. That's true. That's true just means I agree. There are too many people and it is too loud.
It's too expensive too.
Okay, so this sentence is not overly difficult. It's too expensive too. This just means also it costs more money than I want to pay. So of course here there are two twos, two T-O-O twos. And the first one, of course, means too much, right? And the second one just means also. So be careful of those.
Okay, would you rather have ramen?
Okay, so here once again we have rather. So, okay, would you rather have ramen? I think we've talked about it enough. This just means do you want to eat ramen?
You read my mind.
And the final line here, you read my mind. You read my mind means yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay? This does not mean that I have some kind of superpower and I looked into Tuan's brain and realized he was thinking about ramen. That's not what this means. It just means that I said the thing that Tuan was thinking. And that does it for this conversation breakdown. If you have any questions, as always, please let us know in the comments.